Today, I'm going to be touching on the power of looking at something from both the bird's eye perspective and the closer detailed look, meaning that you understand, okay, a car, it's seen as something that gets you from A to B, but that car is built of many micro things, and those each small piece that goes into making something the whole, it is valuable. You take one key component out and you no longer have something that gets you from A to B, but a bunch of parts. To turn that car analogy into something which can become practical and insightful for you, I like to view the car as our body. See, our entire physiology, this suit which we're wearing, right? You are not the body. You are something most people say here or here. Point is that there's the vehicle for your mind. The body is the vehicle of your mind. And if you understand it from a holistic perspective and you view each part as a part and looking deeper into what micro actions can increase the quality of each part. So it's like you have your mind, body, spirit. Those are the big pillars. But then, so there's many small pieces within the big pillars. And then there's a way where you can operate all three of those pillars in a way that they sync together, that they work with each other rather than kind of segmented and not exactly flowing. So the key for anyone to understand is that, yes, there are small micro choices, decisions, and parts, but if you look at it to understand how the small parts work together with the whole, how the small parts make the whole, and then how the whole actually relies upon each small part, you're going to deepen your understanding, and therefore it's going to help you in whatever area of life you may be in, because all of this really comes to the point of the intuition, which is the combination of millions and millions of bits of information that your conscious mind can't process, but your subconscious mind processes your intuition. And if you live in a way where you are detailed, you're focused on both the small and the whole, then your intuition picks up on that, and you're going to be getting answers that your conscious mind wouldn't otherwise be able to produce. But since you're balanced, then life actually works for you. Nothing happens to you, but it all happens for you. So there's tremendous power in connecting dots. And for example, you look at your mind and body. Let's say that you haven't hydrated and then you go to do some cognitive focused work. Well, since you haven't hydrated body, your state of mind for your work, the cognitive piece is also affected. And then you can fall into a cycle where, okay, not hydrated, does lower quality work, gets disappointed at the quality of the work. And then let's say you don't have healthy coping mechanisms, then you don't drink water, you don't eat, or you see the point is that there's a feedback loop if you don't pay attention to each micro part. On the other hand, you could notice, yeah, I haven't drank water in a bit, so no wonder why my head starts to hurt and why I'm not enjoying doing this cognitive work. So you take a break, you go for a walk, have water, have healthy food, you come back recharged, and then your work process is simpler. This is not complicated, but it is complicated because humans are still not doing this on a consistent basis. What I mean is, of course, there are a lot of healthy individuals who understand what I'm saying, but then there are people who haven't connected the dots, who haven't looked deeper at how one choice affects their next feelings or their mood, and their mood affects their next decision. And then it's just a loop of And inevitably, something has to change. If you realize, if you just look, if you just take a moment to reflect upon what you're doing and how it leaves you feeling, then you get an answer. But the trouble is that many just go from distraction to distraction to distraction, and that there is no detailed observation of how what they do affects how they feel and how it all correlates. But if you watching this video, clearly you're interested in looking deeper, and if you begin to pay more attention to the feedback loops, the small micro relationships between a part and a whole, then you're going to have this newfound clarity. It's like you've leveled up in a video game, but in real life. And you just have new skill sets, new abilities, and you're doing the things you used to do faster, more effectively, easier. You get what I mean. To have the initial ability to connect dots, we're talking about the fact which your mind has to be clear. So what do you do to create a clear mind? What do you do to raise the likelihood that your mind is not foggy? Well, it's the simplest of fundamentals. Things such as getting to bed consistently the same time, sleeping for 8+ hours, 8 to 10, drinking and consuming the healthy foods while avoiding the substances, and you fill your days with healthy things, inevitably you don't have any space for bullshit. So you get sunlight, healthy nutrition, good foundational sleep and habits, then you have set yourself up for clarity. And once you set yourself up for clarity, you get the snowball rolling for you, because you get clearer and clearer throughout time. So it's not wild. It's just simply subtracting the things which fog your mind, which distract you, which numb you, and get rid of clarity, while replacing those things with new solutions that actually do enhance your clarity. Then you start to see what you didn't see before. The world, it's the same, but you have changed. And when you change, what you see changes as well. The world is not as it is, the world is as you are. So if you start prioritizing clarity, then everything's going to get easier for you, because you will start to realize, things are actually working for me. The world is working for me. And you see, the signs are always there, but many people don't have clarity, so they don't see the signs. And it's that same saying. You'll be continuously taught the same lesson over and over in different forms until you really understand the lesson. So, for example, this is why many people go from dating one person to dating another. It's like they're dating the same person, just with a few different details. Like they date the person with the same character traits, personality traits, but of course, they're not aware of that. They just say, this is a new person, and now it's a new experience. But the truth is that some people are not healed, some people are working on themselves, and some people are healed and continuously working on themselves. And if you take the time to look deep at yourself, you'll almost immediately understand where someone else that you're interacting with, where they're coming from. And if you do this, you save yourself a lot of trouble, because much of the pain, much of the quote unquote problems that occur in life, they're self-made. And why do I say quote unquote problems? Because see, people view things as a problem, like, the weather's this, she said that, man. The thing is, that's a choice. That's just one lens. That's one perception that you're capable of looking through. You can turn the same things which average Joe would complain, whine, and moan about into something to laugh about, into an educational lesson, into a spiritual experience. So what I mean there is, it comes down to how you look at it. And if you get more detailed looking at the relationship between one thing and the whole, you'll start to notice that everything is a game. It's all a decision, and your emotions, your reactions, your responses, they matter, and you determine them. You determine them by becoming clear. That's why I rant on the fundamentals, because you don't have anything without clarity. Once you get clarity, then you can start to access these deeper benefits and skills that are derived, that are unlocked through clarity. So it's like, a mansion can't stand on a poor foundation. So they do the foundation. They do things right from the beginning when you're creating something massive and powerful. Same thing goes for your mind, body, and spirit. If you want to continually level up, then you have to understand it's fundamentals first. You cover fundamentals, and then you start seeing what you never saw before. It's not like you can just do some superhero stuff, but in a way, in a different lens of what a superhero is. You absolutely do unlock skills and abilities that you wouldn't have thought to be possible. In creating clarity, one key lever to pull is opening the mind. You open the mind by analyzing your habits and your lifestyle. If you are consuming the same things and you're not willing to try alternative sources or question the things which you hear, if you are coming from a perspective where you believe what you hear without actually contemplating the basis of it first before believing, then you fog, you almost destroy your clarity because you're attached, you're biased. And if you can take a moment to reflect and try your best to look at where you may have blind spots, to notice, to reflect in a way where you are analyzing where your biases are. You're analyzing your thoughts. That's probably the number one tip to making progress in this area, is to begin to pay attention to observe what you're thinking about, the quality of your thoughts. And for example, I'll have moments where I'm standing there and then I come back because I've caught myself. I've locked in to my thinking, and I'm like, holy wow, I was thinking like that. That's what was going through my mind. And it's like, you just come back and you realize, geez, it's wild, because the truth is that many humans, they go through life without noticing their thinking. They don't pay attention to the thoughts that they're thinking. And it's like, you hear that saying sometimes, the monkey mind. This is the truth. Your mind is continuously thinking until you become observant of that truth. And only then, once you realize the mind just goes wild constantly, then you have the ability to begin training your focus, to train your observation skills, to notice your own thinking. And once you do that, you unlock a new game, because, 90% of what you do is unconscious. And when you bring the unconscious into your conscious, it's a funny line, but you begin to have access to new levels, just like the video game. And with these new levels, you get a new level of clarity. And when you have this utmost clarity, I almost can't put it into words what happens, but you just know. And when you know, you don't have self-doubt, you don't have stress, you don't have anxiety. You can have moments of those emotions, but since you're training your observation skill daily, they're just moments. They're no longer minutes and hours and days. So what I want you to understand, and what I am reminding myself right now, is It's okay to have those emotions. It's okay. What's not okay is to sit, to be trapped, to play some sort of survival or victim mode. You are thriving, and you thrive by creating the clarity, by looking at your habits and prioritizing the training of your observation ability. You catch your thoughts. You understand how others feel. You start to feel such depth through communication, tone of voice, body language. You can almost totally understand someone else through the work you've done to understand yourself. Actionable tips. So have one big goal for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Meaning a big goal is much more powerful than a small goal. A big goal requires you to break that down into small actions. Small goals just are not as easy to generate enthusiasm and to persist at. But if you have a big goal, something grandiose, something worthwhile, something that requires you becoming what you're not currently, something which absolutely pushes your limits. So for me, my spiritual goal is to become so observant that I don't judge anyone, to simply be an observant being, to realize, yeah, I have an ego, I have a human body, my vehicle, but to just be so observant that I'm just a neutral thing. I'm neutral all the time. No attachment, no bias, no judgment. Still feel the emotions without being trapped by the emotions. So the ego is not the enemy. The ego is just meant to be developed. It's something that you can play with. So in terms of spiritual, that's an idea. For the mind, just take something in terms of business, a skill set, a way to earn revenue while enjoying the avenue which creates the revenue. That's what you can do with your mind. Same thing with your body. So just, what does Bruce Lee say? You're better off aiming high, missing, than aiming low and hitting. So aim high, but then break it down into practical actions that you can consistently do. Think about it strategically through your rational mind, through the lens of the ego. Consider doubts, consider others' opinions, but don't be swallowed by doubts and others' opinions. So this is the game. This is what I mean. It comes full circle where we start, micro and whole. You have to consider all this stuff that I'm telling you. But you also want to look at it from the holistic perspective of you are not a human doing, you're not a human having, you're a being. You are a spiritual being in a human body. And if you understand, that doesn't mean you can just sit in a cave and do nothing. You're going to have more of a spiritual impact through doing the practical human stuff. So that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here to mix both the mind, the body, and the spirit, because it's not simple, but it is simple. And there are many moving parts, and there's one whole. And you're not meant to just understand the whole, nor just the parts. But if you can play the game of zooming in and out, you can observe your emotions, observe the moods, the frequencies, the energy within animals, within people who you speak to, within yourself. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. You will become what you're meant to become, and you will have the impact, the inspiring vision, the inspiring creation that you're meant to partake in. So hope this helps. If it's valuable, number one is for you. If you stayed here to the end, if you're young, you have high energy, you consider yourself professional, you are sincere, mind, body, spirit, I'd love to work with you. I'd love to see if we are the right fit so that I can save you time. We have limited time, but I have an opportunity. I have a way to save you time in your development. So if that sounds good, if it interests you, link in description, you can apply there. And to conclude, again, if this is valuable, only if it's valuable, just drop me a like if you're on YouTube, drop a rating if you're on the podcast, and small favor, I'd appreciate it very much. I'm not running ads. Please just share it with a friend, share it with someone who, Share it with someone who might need to hear this. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot.